I'm Ron James, and this is News and Commentary. Many people believe that sitting U.S. presidents are not made aware of issues regarding extraterrestrial phenomena and its relationship to covert government and corporate programs. If this is true, then this story may be another sign that Donald Trump won't be the president who spills the beans about ET. This week, while addressing a group of Marines, Donald Trump floated the idea of the U.S. having a space force.
We're doing a tremendous amount of work in space. I said, maybe we need a new force. We'll call it the Space Force. And I was not really serious. And then I said, what a great idea. Maybe we'll have to do that.
A space force is a great idea. Unfortunately, nobody seems to have mentioned to him that we already have one. During the historic citizen hearing on disclosure, the filming of which I personally produced, former Senator Mike Gravel actually acknowledged that we have a space force that already exists.
Yeah, in June of 2001, President Bush came on scene on ABC News, and it was carried throughout the networks and in Popular Mechanics magazine. He had with him a general from the Air Force, and he was announcing that the general was going to be the head of a new military force called the Space Force. And they were going to build this force and also put a military base on the moon. Now, nobody questioned him on why, what was the purpose for that. But then September 11th comes around, the terrorist attack comes, this general is posted as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Space Force never comes about. The question I have still, why did he want to create a new military force for outer space unless there's a threat?
We have one. We have a space. We have a space force. It's in existence. And it's been written about extensively. It's there.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Okay.
Some acknowledge it and some don't. But that's your point's well taken, Sergeant.
Black Ops?
Black Ops is real.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
you want me to answer that?
No?
No, I won't.
No. No.
We did more research into official announcements of a Space Force. There's plenty of documentation about Air Force Space Command, or a Space Force. It goes back well into the 90s, and Donald Rumsfeld in 2001 spoke about modifying the command structure of the military to accommodate it. The Pentagon has already announced, via speech by Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld 2 months ago, that military space programs are to be consolidated under a 4-star Air Force general. Commander of the U.S. Space Forces will likely be elevated eventually to equality with the commanders of the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines who comprise the present Joint Chiefs of Staff.
The missile defense announcements, which were made by President Bush last week at National Defense University, I suppose could be characterized as the first product of the studies that have taken place. This event today and the changes we're recommending with respect to space could be characterized as the second. Here again, the subject matter has been, it started with a congressional proposal, it ended with it then went to a commission. The commission made recommendations to the department took those recommendations and coordinated them extensively throughout all the services and all the OSD activities elsewhere in government. The National Security Council, I should add, has a policy coordinating committee that will help to coordinate the civil and commercial and defense-related aspects of space as well. And this particular set of proposals that you've been provided in, I think, a blue top, have all been fully coordinated with all the military departments and services and the other elements of government.
And if you're still not sure the Air Force has its own Space Command, it actually has its own magazine. What about the widespread rumors and some verified facts about the Navy having its own secret space program? Some of these tales go as far as to claim that the Navy operates a fully manned space fleet in our solar system. According to this article by Dr. Michael Salla on the website exopolitics.org, the Navy does have such a program, And they're not telling the Air Force. For those of you who want to venture more into the world of speculation, here's an excerpt from Michael Schratt's presentation at the MUFON Symposium in 2017.
The aircraft is 200 feet in length for the large aircraft. The mothership, it has a 120-foot wingspan. It has 16-foot tall winglets at the terminating part of the wings. It uses a splitter XB-70 air intake on the lower portion of the mothership, and that's for the using of the launching of the parasitic aircraft off the belly of the mothership. Any evidence to prove this? We've got US patent number 4,802,639 from Northrop that was published here in 1989, right around the right time frame. What they're showing is a slightly different configuration, but they're showing a two-stage to orbit spaceplane with this relieved section on the bottom where the parasitic aircraft can tuck up inside. What's the propulsion system? They are using 4 linear aerospike engines on the back end of this vehicle that are grouped in 2 banks of 2 of these linear aerospike engines. It uses a modified gel boron fuel that has the consistency of toothpaste. That's the kind of fuel they're using. Top speed of this aircraft is right around Mach 20. That's roughly 17,500 miles an hour. It also uses these replaceable shotgun shells on the back side of the vehicle as well for something that can be used as a solid rocket booster.
I personally ran into a very interesting collection of models from the collection of a recently deceased aerospace industry insider. Here's another cryptic, mysterious little model. It says NASA on it. I've never seen this one before either, but really, talk about black budget. Okay, here's a larger version. This one says NASA, US Air Force. It's another plane, spaceship, something that we never made. Here's another piece. It's not the X-37 or the X-38. This is the X-36. And hold on, I think I found another one. Here's a larger version of the X-36. This looks like a space-capable fighter. You don't think they're flying one of these out there somewhere, experimenting with it? Whatever space-capable machines we have, it's obvious by the brilliant idea of Donald Trump that we should have a Space Force that nobody's telling the president.
I said, maybe we need a new force. We'll call it the Space Force. And I was not really serious. And then I said, what a great idea. Maybe we'll have to do that.
The theme Donald's floating here is the importance of weaponizing space.
My new national strategy for space recognizes that space is a warfighting domain, just like the land, air, and sea.
I'm sure everybody has an opinion on that one, so I'll leave it at that.